is the Chosen One.
The Chosen One, the boy may be.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it's this boy?
Welcome to Darth Theorist, where we explore the depths of the Force, analyze characters, and speculate on what could have been, whether you're a Jedi Knight, a Sith Lord, or simply a curious traveler. Prepare to ignite your imagination as we begin this journey. I think it's safe to say that all Star Wars fans recognize Darth Vader and his iconic black suit, from its creation in Revenge of the Sith to his death in Return of the Jedi. That armor has been a staple of his look, representing his fall to the dark side. Both those movies took place over 20 years ago, which raises the question, why didn't Vader ever try to upgrade his suit? While it was undoubtedly powerful and intimidating enough to give the fiercest Jedi nightmares, there were plenty of opportunities to improve its design. There are several reasons why this was the case. First of all, Palpatine wouldn't have approved of any upgrades. After Anakin was defeated on Mustafar, Palpatine commissioned that suit to keep Anakin alive and make him more powerful by turning him into Darth Vader. Yet, while he wanted his apprentice to get an upgrade, he didn't want Vader to become too powerful, as is the nature of the Sith. One was to wield the power, and the other was to crave it. If Palpatine allowed Vader to continue improving his armor, he might grow strong enough to threaten him. Another reason was that Vader preferred this suit to a certain degree. You need to understand that dark side users thrive on negative emotions like pain, anger, and hatred. That suit was designed to be uncomfortable and had needles that constantly pricked him to cause him pain. Vader wanted that pain because it reminded him of her. It allowed him to draw on his worst aspects and make him stronger. But he wasn't the only one who wanted to cause him pain. Palpatine also wanted Vader to suffer for his failure on Mustafar. The suit was his way of controlling his apprentice. By keeping him in that armor, he kept Vader an empty shell, unable to form connections and leaving him isolated from anyone else. This prevented Vader from trying to usurp power. Palpatine was also a sadist who enjoyed tormenting those beneath him, especially his apprentices. Just look at Dooku and Maul.
Master.
I am most impressed to see you have survived your injuries.
I used your training, Master, and I have built all this in hopes of returning to your side.
But now that we've established the why, let's talk about the what-ifs. What if Vader decided to turn against his master by upgrading his armor? It was clear that there was no love lost between Vader and Palpatine, and their relationship could be best described as barely concealed hatred. After all, it was in the philosophy that they both followed that these two would eventually turn on each other. If Vader ever decided to upgrade his armor, one of his main goals would be getting rid of Palpatine. Whether it was to rule the Empire or just out of revenge, his master was at the top of his hit list. Of course, upgrading armor like that is a tall order, and Darth Vader would never be able to do it on his own. He would need someone who had both technological prowess and a reason to hate Palpatine. Lucky for him, there was a group that checked both these categories: the Kaminoans. The Kaminoans were some of the most advanced beings in the galaxy. They were responsible for creating the Grand Army of the Republic. The clones they created were genetically designed to be the peak of physical fitness, as well as having some of the best equipment. Some units had highly advanced suits of armor, such as the clone commandos. But aside from means, they also had the motivation and opportunity. With the rise of the Empire, Palpatine had decommissioned the cloning facilities and devastated the planet of Kamino, rendering them unable to seriously threaten the Empire. However, some Kaminoans survived, including Lama Se and Nala Se, the Prime Minister and Chief Medical Officers of Kamino.
You have nothing to offer us.
You are mistaken. Rampart was merely the dagger. I offer you a chance to find the killer.
Rampart is gone, as is Kamino. We have nothing to gain from what you're proposing.
I sense the anger inside you, the pain, the hatred. This is something that will never leave until satisfied. What I offer you is satisfaction.
If the Kaminoans join Vader's side, the question is, what kind of upgrades would they provide him? Perhaps the most obvious one is something to resist against Force lightning. This was one of Palpatine's signature moves, and helped him defeat many foes, including his former apprentices. If Vader has any chance of winning, he would need to negate that ability. Aside from that, he would also likely adjust the design to reduce the pain he felt. While we said that Vader thrived on pain, he would have at least adjusted it, so it was more of an ability and less of an inconvenience. Vader would have wanted his suit to continue to send pain through his body when he was in combat, but not when he was doing things like sleeping. He would have likely adjusted the suit to make it more comfortable and allow him to send pain across his body when he wanted to. Next, he would also upgrade his ocular sensors, so he could see better by adding enhanced sensors, night vision, and an improved HUD. Lastly, Darth Vader would also have wanted the armor for protection, but to improve his fighting ability by increasing his speed, strength, and maneuverability. He may even upgrade it to have Beskar plating to make it resistant to lightsaber cuts. Even with these upgrades, Vader wouldn't try to take on Palpatine right away. He'd want to test out its capabilities and see what it can do. And he has the perfect target, the person who caused him to become this hollow shell, the person he viewed as a brother who betrayed him, the person who he hated almost as much as Palpatine. After getting his armor, Vader would now be fully committed to turning against Palpatine, which means he would be less inclined to obey his master's instructions. So he would have gladly used Imperial resources to try and track down Obi-Wan, something Palpatine never approved of. Lucky for him, Obi-Wan just happened to be on the same planet where R2-D2 escaped with the Death Star plans. Let's set the scene. With the knowledge that the Death Star plans and his former master are in the same place, Vader decides that he must handle the situation on his own, instead of leaving it to the stormtroopers. Because of that, he descends onto the surface and uses the Force to find his old master. It takes days of searching and concentration, but Vader finally tracks Obi-Wan down to his hut. Vader bursts in, intent on trapping the Jedi Master and finally dealing with him. But he's surprised to see that Obi-Wan isn't alone. Seated across from him is a young man with blue eyes and blonde hair. He immediately recognizes this boy as his son, Luke.
After 25 long years, I have finally found you, my old master. So, this is the hole in which you have hidden yourself. Oh, how the Jedi have fallen.
The two immediately engage in a duel, Obi-Wan moving much faster than his age suggests, blocking Vader's attacks and remaining in control of himself as they fight. Vader, though, fueled by his anger, and with the new upgrades to his suit, quickly gains the upper hand. The blows that Obi-Wan scores are shrugged off by the improved armor. However, as the fight begins, Vader hears the voice of his past. Unknowns to Vader, by shedding his old suit, he has also begun to weaken Palpatine's hold over him. Now, he began to recall who he was before he became Vader.
All I want is your love.
Bring balance to the Force!
I won't leave you. Not this time. At what cost? You're a good person. Don't do this.
Obi-Wan senses the hesitation in Anakin and tries to reach out to him and pull him back to the light. Rather than attacking in this moment of weakness, he speaks to his former friend. Suddenly, Vader uses the Force to choke Obi-Wan before slamming him against the wall of his hut. The old Jedi is helpless to this attack and falls to the ground. Vader aims his saber into his former master's heart, intent on ending this. Before he can deliver the final blow, Luke steps in between them and shouts at Vader to stop. He has no idea what is happening, but all he knows is that Vader is about to kill a defenseless man and cannot sit by and let it happen. Vader is stunned by this gesture, not expecting such boldness, but as he looks into Luke's eyes, he sees Padme and recalls how she spent her life defending the weak and fighting for equality. He remembers all the times she had selflessly dedicated herself to her beliefs, even when it put her in danger, even when it cost Padme her life. Suddenly, he realizes this is exactly what she would have done, and that Luke is as much Padme as he is him. Without Palpatine's hold over him being as strong, Vader has a moment of realization and cannot bring himself to attack. Instead, he yields to the pair. After a while, Vader reveals his plan to overthrow the Emperor, something both Obi-Wan and Luke agree to help him with. Together, the former heroes of the Clone War begin Luke's Jedi training. However, they are short on time, as the Emperor expects Vader to retrieve the Death Star plans. The longer it takes, the more suspicious he will become. Instead, the three formulate a plan Vader will personally deliver the Death Star plans to Palpatine, but at the same time, he will sneak Luke and Obi-Wan with him on his ship, and together, they will defeat the Emperor. As Vader returns to Coruscant, he confronts Palpatine alone, who notices Vader's new armor, and knows that his apprentice is turned against him. Without another word, the two ignite their lightsabers, but Anakin uses his original blue saber as they begin their duel. To Palpatine's shock, his usual attacks of Force lightning and even his lightsabers are not effective against Vader. Despite that, his decades of experience allow him to put up a strong fight. Palpatine finds the weak points in Vader's armor, and even though he holds his own, Vader succumbs to fatigue as Palpatine is careful to stay out of his reach. Slowly, things begin to even out as both are exhausted and wounded. At that moment, when Palpatine is weakened, Obi-Wan and Luke enter the fight. Seeing his son fearlessly challenge someone far greater than him, just as his mother always did, Vader is filled with a renewed power and rejoins the fight. Despite that, Palpatine continues to hold his own. None of them manage to land a killing blow, but as they continue to push him, Palpatine senses the power in Luke and the inexperience. Seeing him as the weakest link, he rushes Luke, unleashing a burst of lightning towards the young Jedi. Unlike Obi-Wan or Vader, he is still inexperienced in the Force or lightsaber combat and cannot defend himself, sending him flying across the room. Vader is stunned by the attack, leaving him momentarily unable to react. Obi-Wan rushes to defend Luke, leaving himself open to attack, and finds himself pressed, struggling to defend Luke's unconscious form. Seeing his son on the ground, and his former master on the verge of defeat, Vader feels a rush of power towards him. With a ferocious cry, he unleashes his dark powers, sending items all over the office flying at Palpatine before engaging him with his lightsaber. Palpatine tries to protect himself, but is overwhelmed by Vader's rage. Vader swings his lightsaber across Palpatine's waist, severing it in two. With the Emperor dead, Vader reveals that he will no longer take over the Empire. Instead, the three of them release Leia from imprisonment and begin a purge of the Empire, removing corrupt officials and restoring the Republic in honor of his wife. Leia would become the new Supreme Chancellor, while Vader and Obi-Wan continue to train Luke in the ways of the Jedi. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.